Welcome to Dolphin Dive Daily, your go-to spot for everything Miami Dolphins. If you bleed aqua and orange, hit that subscribe button and join the pod. Minkah Fitzpatrick is back in South Beach, and it feels like a full circle moment for the star safety. Originally drafted by the Miami Dolphins in the first round back in 2018, Fitzpatrick's time with the franchise came to an abrupt end when he requested a trade in 2019. That request led to a high-profile move to the Pittsburgh Steelers, where he quickly blossomed into one of the league's premier defensive backs. Fast forward to 2025, and Fitzpatrick has returned to where it all began. But this isn't just a nostalgia tour. The five-time Pro Bowler is back with purpose, clarity, and a desire to make Miami his long-term home. While the trade that sent him back to the Dolphins may have surprised many, what came after, the restructuring of his contract and a public commitment to Miami, sends a very clear message. Fitzpatrick wants to anchor this defense for years to come, and he's willing to prove his worth all over again. The decision to restructure his contract wasn't simply about numbers, it was about security, both financially and emotionally. The new agreement didn't add extra years to his deal, but it did provide a meaningful signing bonus, effectively converting some of the previously non-guaranteed money into upfront cash. For Fitzpatrick, this meant he could settle in with the assurance that he wouldn't just be a short-term rental in Miami's defensive plans. "I just wanted to know that I was going to be here for more than a season," he told reporters, making it clear that commitment from the organization mattered as much as the paycheck. And now, with that commitment on the table, the next step is simple. Deliver elite-level performances that make his presence undeniable. The Dolphins are betting on his leadership and skill set, and Fitzpatrick is betting on himself. The implications of this deal go beyond just one player. Fitzpatrick's restructure freed up a crucial $11 million in cap space, an amount that could prove vital for a team facing multiple question marks in its secondary and salary cap sheet. With Jalen Ramsey still navigating injury rehab and the depth chart behind him thin, Miami needed both leadership and financial flexibility. Minkah's restructured deal accomplished both. While it does increase his 2026 cap hit significantly, the move sends a signal. This team is thinking about the now, and it sees Fitzpatrick as part of that urgency. Of course, higher stakes come with higher expectations. The elevated future. Cap charge will likely pressure both the player and the organization to reach a longer-term agreement before that figure becomes a hindrance in 2026. Fitzpatrick's return to Miami is more than a football transaction. It's a story of unfinished business. The last time he wore aqua and orange, things ended abruptly and not entirely on good terms. Fitzpatrick was vocal about his desire for a clearer role and more consistency within the Dolphins' defensive scheme, and when that wasn't forthcoming, he looked elsewhere. Now, 6 years later, he's a different player with a more complete resume, one that includes All-Pro honors, Pro Bowl appearances, and leadership accolades earned in Pittsburgh. He's returning with more maturity, more perspective, and perhaps most importantly, more control over how his Miami chapter will unfold. He isn't just joining the Dolphins, he's returning to rewrite his own narrative and cement a legacy that started but never finished in South Florida. And while the years in Pittsburgh were undeniably successful, the last 2 seasons weren't exactly vintage Fitzpatrick. Injuries and inconsistency meant his play dipped, with only 1 interception recorded across the 2023 and 2024 campaigns. That kind of production isn't what we expect from someone who once terrorized quarterbacks and blanketed receivers on a weekly basis. For Fitzpatrick, regaining that All-Pro form isn't just about pride, it's about securing a future. At 28, he knows that the next contract he signs could be his last major NFL deal. A strong 2025 could be the difference between a multi-year extension and another round of uncertainty in free agency. That's why every snap he takes this season will carry the weight of more than just the scoreboard. It's his audition for a long-term stay. On the field, Fitzpatrick's versatility is something new Dolphins defensive coordinator Vic Fangio is sure to utilize. Whether playing deep as a traditional free safety, rolling down into the box, or even lining up in the slot, Fitzpatrick's ability to play multiple roles fits perfectly within Fangio's complex and adaptable scheme. For Miami, that's a luxury. few teams have at the safety position. But versatility only matters if it leads to production. If Fitzpatrick can start creating turnovers again, forcing fumbles, and making the game-changing plays he was once known for, it won't just help the team win. It will justify a hefty long-term investment. Fangio loves smart, instinctual players, and there are few in the league with a higher football IQ than Minkah. That relationship could be pivotal in turning Fitzpatrick's second Dolphins stint into a resounding success. Off the field, Fitzpatrick's leadership could prove just as valuable as his on-field contributions. This Dolphins locker room has a blend of youth and experience, and having a veteran presence like Fitzpatrick to help guide younger defensive backs could be a game changer. Players like Jevon Holland and Cam Smith will benefit from his experience, preparation habits, and understanding of offensive schemes. In Pittsburgh, Fitzpatrick was not just a player, he was a captain, a tone setter, and someone young players gravitated toward. Bringing that to Miami at a time when the team is pushing for a deep playoff run could be invaluable. That's what makes this move more than just cap maneuvering or a reunion. It's about building a culture where players want to grow and stay, and Fitzpatrick is determined to be a pillar in that foundation. Of course, nothing is guaranteed in the NFL, and Fitzpatrick knows it. The league moves fast, and reputations fade just as quickly as they're made. But Fitzpatrick isn't banking on his past. He's focused on what's next. He's come back to Miami not as a prodigal son seeking redemption, but as a seasoned, a pro ready to lead. He understands the expectations, he knows the scrutiny that comes with his contract and his pedigree, and yet he embraces it. He's betting that the player who once dominated with instinct, range, and fearlessness still lives within him. And if he's right, then the second chapter in Miami won't just be a feel-good story. It'll be a dominant one, built on production, leadership, and a relentless pursuit of excellence. So what does success look like for Minkah Fitzpatrick in 2025? It starts with availability, continues with playmaking, and ends with respect. Respect from teammates, coaches, and front office decision makers. If he plays at the level he's targeting, Pro Bowl, All-Pro, game changer, then there will be no question about extending his contract. The Dolphins are entering a window of contention, and having a star like Fitzpatrick at the center of the defense can be the glue that holds it all together. For Miami, the decision will become easy. Pay the man, lock him down, build around him. But until then, all eyes will be on Minkah as he takes the field once again under the South Florida sun, determined to turn his comeback into something permanent and legacy-defining. At the end of the day, this is a story about more than just dollars and deals. It's about identity, redemption, and opportunity. Minkah Fitzpatrick is no longer the young rookie trying to find his way. He's a veteran who knows exactly what he brings to the table. His time in Pittsburgh made him tougher, smarter, and more grounded. His return to Miami is a chance to blend that growth with the raw talent that got him drafted in the first place. The Dolphins see the potential, and Fitzpatrick feels the responsibility. It's a rare opportunity in pro sports to return to where you started and redefine your legacy. For Fitzpatrick, the journey home isn't just sentimental, it's strategic, it's personal. And if he has his way, it'll be long term. Still with us? Then show some love. Hit that like button and let us know in the comments. What's your take on the Fins this week? Ladies and gentlemen, football fans across the nation, if you haven't heard the whispers already, it's time to lean in. Because there's a rumor swirling that's shaking the very foundation of the AFC East. We're talking about none other than All-Pro cornerback Ahmad Sauce Gardner. Yes, you heard that right. The sauce may no longer be simmering in New York. The rumor mill is red hot, and insiders close to the situation are saying that Gardner has made a shocking decision to leave the New York Jets. And where is he headed, you ask? Brace yourselves, the Miami Dolphins. That's right. Sauce is reportedly packing his bags, trading green for aqua and orange, and heading south to join a Dolphins team that seems dead set on building one of the most formidable secondaries in recent memory. This isn't just a player switch. It could change the whole power dynamic in the AFC. Now let's rewind a bit, because this isn't just about a blockbuster move. It's about the subtle signs, the cryptic tweets, the radio silence from Jets camp, and the suspiciously enthusiastic vibes coming from Miami. It all started just a few weeks ago when Sauce Gardner suddenly unfollowed several Jets-related accounts on social media, including the team itself. While social media sleuthing isn't always proof of anything concrete, fans knew something was up. Then came the cryptic tweet, "New chapter loading," with a palm tree emoji. The palm tree. That single emoji sent Dolphins fans into a frenzy and Jets fans into a spiral of denial. The media tried to downplay it, calling it off-season noise. But behind the scenes, something was clearly brewing. Sources close to Gardner say he was frustrated with the Jets' direction, unhappy with certain locker room dynamics, and ready for a change of scenery. And apparently that scenery includes South Beach. But why the Dolphins? Why would one of the league's top young corners choose Miami over all other potential suitors? Let's think about it. First, the Dolphins are building a powerhouse defense. They already had Xavier Howard and Jalen Ramsey, but with Howard's future in question and Ramsey recovering from injuries, the team has been quietly eyeing a long-term elite lockdown corner to anchor their secondary. And let's be honest, adding Sauce Gardner to the mix gives them that missing piece. His youth, swagger, and elite playmaking ability are tailor-made for Miami's aggressive, high-energy defense. Plus, let's not ignore the tax situation. Florida's no income tax status is always a draw for players looking to maximize their earnings. Combine that with Miami's warm weather, vibrant culture, and a team that's knocking on the Super Bowl door, and it suddenly makes perfect sense why Gardner would be tempted. Still, nobody thought he'd actually walk away from New York this early. The Jets, for their part, are reportedly stunned. Internally, sources say the front office was blindsided by Gardner's decision. They believed he was a foundational piece, someone they could build around for years. He was, after all, a fan favorite, a face of the franchise, and one of the few bright spots on a team struggling to find its identity. But it seems like tensions have been simmering under the surface. For months, some reports suggest Gardner clashed with certain defensive coaches over scheme adjustments, and he was frustrated with the team's inability to remain competitive. Add to that the Jets' ongoing quarterback carousel and the pressure cooker environment of New York media, and maybe it's not so shocking that a 23-year-old star would look for a fresh start. Still, leaving this early in his rookie deal, that's a bold move, and it's got everyone talking. What makes this situation even more intriguing is the potential fallout. The AFC East just became the NFL's most explosive storyline. Imagine Gardner lining up in a Dolphins jersey, staring down his former team twice a year. Those Jets-Dolphins matchups will now carry extra heat, extra edge, and all eyes will be on Sauce every time the ball is thrown in his direction. And don't forget, this isn't just about one cornerback. This move could set off a chain reaction. With Gardner in Miami, the Dolphins might shift their draft and free agency strategy, while the Jets are now forced to reassess their entire secondary. They'll need to replace not just a shutdown corner, but a vocal leader and locker room presence. Meanwhile, players across the league are reportedly reaching out to Sauce, congratulating him privately and hinting at interest in joining him in Miami. Could this be the start of a new era in South Beach? And for the Dolphins, this isn't just a roster upgrade. It's a message. It's a statement to the rest of the league. We're going all in. Remember, Miami has been quietly stacking talent on both sides of the ball. They've got Tua under center, Tyreek and Waddle stretching the field, and now they're building a defense that looks like something out of a Madden fantasy draft. Bringing in Sauce Gardner signals that they're done waiting. They want to win now. And if this rumored deal is true, Dolphins GM Chris Grier deserves major credit for pulling off what could be the steal of the offseason. Think about it. Stealing an all-pro talent from a division rival right under their noses. That's not just smart. It's ruthless. And in a division this competitive, that's exactly the kind of move you need to make if you want to be playing football deep into January and maybe even February. But hold on, what about the contract? That's the million-dollar question. Actually, the multi-million-dollar question. Gardner was still under his rookie deal with the Jets, which raises eyebrows about how this deal came together. Was there a trade involved? A contract buyout? Some kind of rarely used exit clause? Or did the Jets and Gardner come to a behind-closed-doors agreement to part ways amicably? There's speculation that Gardner's team worked quietly with the Dolphins to structure a long-term deal that would make him one of the highest-paid defensive backs in NFL history. We're talking potentially north of $20 million per year. And while some might call that risky, Dolphins brass reportedly see it as a bargain for a player with Gardner's ceiling. Still, until official details come out, fans and analysts alike are left piecing the puzzle together, trying to understand how such a seismic shift happened so fast. And let's not forget the optics. Sauce Gardner leaving the Jets, especially if it turns out he pushed for the move, could be a PR nightmare. For the franchise, this isn't just losing a player, it's losing the heartbeat of your defense, someone who was embraced by fans as the next great New York icon. Losing him to a division rival? That stings even more. And what does it say about the Jets' internal culture? Already under fire for their handling of quarterbacks and coaching inconsistencies, this could be another black mark on the leadership of the organization. Fans are angry, demanding answers. Social media is ablaze with theories, disappointment, and shock. Meanwhile, Dolphins fans are euphoric, welcoming Gardner with open arms. If this rumor becomes reality, we could be witnessing one of the biggest power shifts in the AFC in recent memory. What happens next? Well, that's the million-dollar storyline heading into training camp. Will we see Ahmad Sauce Gardner officially unveiled in Miami gear in the coming days? Are there still hurdles to clear? Paperwork, physicals, or final cap space gymnastics? Or will something unexpected derail the whole thing last minute? Until there's an official press release, nothing is set in stone. But from everything we're hearing, from locker room whispers to agent circles to cryptic social media posts, the writing's on the wall. Gardner wants out, Miami wants in. And the rest of the NFL better be paying close attention, because if this deal goes through, the Dolphins aren't just getting a top-tier cornerback. They're getting momentum. They're getting swagger. And maybe, just maybe, they're getting the missing piece to make a serious Super Bowl run. Stay tuned, folks. This story is far from over. So to all the fans out there, Jets, Dolphins, or just lovers of good drama, keep your eyes peeled. This isn't just another off-season rumor. This has the potential to reshape the competitive landscape of the AFC East for years to come. If Ahmad Sauce Gardner really does suit up for Miami this season, we're looking at a storyline packed with revenge games, highlight reels, and locker room narratives that will dominate headlines week after week. For the Jets, it's about damage, control, and looking to the future. For the Dolphins, it's about capitalizing on opportunity and going all in on the now. And for Sauce Gardner, it's about legacy. From being the pride of New York to possibly the cornerstone of Miami's next big push, this is a career-defining decision. Whether it's confirmed tomorrow or drags on for weeks, one thing's for sure: the sauce is officially heating up in South Beach. That's a wrap for today's dive. If you're loving the content, share it with a fellow Dolphins fan, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a splash. Fins up.